think we might be live. If anyone's in the room, hello, good morning. We're going to start stretching in a couple minutes, but I'm just going to share this link in a couple places. So just get set in your space and we'll start moving around a little bit. Hope everyone is having a good holiday this week. I didn't wake up too long ago, so you're going to see the unkept version of me today, but it's all good. That's what this is about. It's like how to get started during the day. So if you feel like saying anything in the chat, feel free, say hello. Make sure you got some water, make sure you got some space that you can move around in. That's basically all you need. No expectations today. What's up, Steve? How's it going, man? I know we don't have official stretching tomorrow, so this is next best thing. Let's see here. Did you have a good Thanksgiving? Unkempt here as well. That's right, Amy. That's the nice thing about you guys is like you guys don't need to show yourselves, but here I am. Oh man, Steve, wow. You're up at 3 and 6. So let's see, every 3 hours you go back to sleep. So after this, you can go back to sleep at noon. Oh, what's up, Wendy? Lee, what's up? How's it going? I'm glad you guys could join me today. I'm a little slow moving as well, so yeah, seriously, give me like 1 minute and then for real, we'll start. If you have something that you can sit on, that would help. It's not going to be super necessary, but just to stay flexible. If you have like a little chair, or I have this mini ottoman. And if you have some water too, that'll help. All right. And cool. We got about like 11 people in here, which is kind of crazy. I wasn't sure who would actually wake up. Hey, Daphne, not a morning person. Guess what? Neither am I. But it's all good. All right, everyone. So it seems like I got a lot of friends in here, but if I'm not your friend, or if I don't know you, my name is Sean, and we're just gonna stretch a little bit today. I'm a dancer. I'm a martial artist up in Boston, and gotta keep the body moving. Gotta keep the body feeling fresh. So stretching's a big thing that I do that keeps me feeling like my body's not gonna break. So it sounds like many of us either just woke up or maybe in general aren't like morning people. So the first thing I'm going to do is like kind of get into my body. It's like getting into a car to go somewhere, like getting into the body and really trying to feel what feels good and what doesn't necessarily feel that good right away. So we're not going to have to move a ton, but you're going to maybe sweat a little bit. What's up, fammy? So what you're gonna do is just take your hands. You can sit down, you can stand up, you can sit on the floor, whatever is good for you right now, and just spread your fingers out. It's like you're trying to create as much space as you can between them, and you're gonna press your palms together and feel like it's like the fingers are spread. They're not like this, and you're spreading them out and pushing in like this, basically just to wake up your hands, wake up your wrists, wake up your forearms. And the harder you push the stuff that's connected, like the shoulders, you feel your biceps, even like getting into your chest a little bit, you can engage those muscles and really try to just create some tension, right? It's not going to really feel like you're stretching much other than your fingers, maybe like spreading them out, but we're just waking up our muscles, right? You feel it in your belly. If you're sitting down, try to feel where you're sitting. That's starting to push too. Feels like you're sitting in or pushing into your chair. You can squeeze your leg muscles a little bit. Even my feet on the floor, you can't see them. Try to push your feet into the floor a little bit. And then just relax everything. Okay, you feel like you just took a huge weight off. And just take your hands, just shake them out a little bit. Try to make your fingers feel like rubber. Hopefully the sound quality is okay. If it starts to skip or get choppy for any reason, that's the World Wide Web. Let's do it again. So think like you're pushing in here. This is like where the feeling starts here, and then just try to tap in. Like literally think about all the muscles along the chain that start to activate after a while. So spreading the fingers out, even like this, just holding the fingers out straight. If you straighten your arms like this is a really good thing too. Just trying to keep your hands as flexed as possible. And you start to feel a little burn in your arms, but let's relax that for a second. There's lots of variations you can do with this. So starting pushing in and try to activate. I'll just call out body parts. So we got our fingers pushing the palms into the forearms, elbows, biceps, triceps, shoulders, into the chest, into your lats, your obliques, the side muscles, belly, lower back, glutes. Trying to just wake up everything, just really tap in. Thighs, hamstrings, calves, feet. And you can even move a little bit within this and start to feel a little stretch in different places. But just trying to make that tension in the middle. And 3, 2, 1, relax it. Cool. Okay, so hopefully your body starts to feel a little warm now. I know when I start to move around in the morning, sometimes my body just feels cold and stiff. And if I start moving without really tapping in, it doesn't feel good. So then I stop doing whatever I wanted to do. All right, so now we're going to stand up. And I'm going to tilt this up a little bit. And at any point, if you need to drink some water, have some water, take a little rest. So just picking up one knee, putting it down, other knee, put it down. Just alternate, really easy. Just up, down. And think you want to try to pick up your knee as high as you can and try to do as less as you can with the rest of your body. So you might see me when I pick up my knees, I'm kind of drifting a little bit side to side, which it's not a bad thing. But see if the more you do it, see if you can limit that drift. So you have to sort of keep yourself a little more stable. And I'm watching myself in my screen just to kind of assess. If I feel like I'm going like this, I'm going to try to keep my weight a little more centered. Up, down, up, down, up, down. Now try the same thing. Try to pick up the knees a little sideways. And I'm going to put my hands in the middle like this. I'm going to have my elbows down, hands up. And same idea. I'm trying not to lean with my head, just keeping my head stationary while I open my hips. And keeping my arms in the middle like this just gives me a sense of, if this isn't moving, then I can see it. Okay, and relax. Okay, it's not going to be perfect, but when you do stationary exercises like this, where you're moving around, if your head's moving, that's a sign that you might not be plugged in around your belly. So try to activate your core and see if you can solidify through that. So now take the same idea. going up like this. You want to try to loosen up your hips doing this by moving your knees. Try to circle one leg out. Okay, outwards, making a circle. Maybe do like 4 or 5 times, and then try to switch the other leg. Again, trying to make a circle, opening the hip. You might feel a little snap, crackle, pop action. You can alternate. And again, while I'm doing this, I'm trying not to move my upper body. Try to keep my upper body relatively stationary. I switch. If you want to add a little challenge, try to keep your foot a little bit off the floor when you circle. Other side. If your balance isn't too hot, don't worry about this. Okay, you can always put your foot down, just relax in between. Just trying to get some mobility in your hip. Now try to reverse it, go to the inside. And with this one, try to give it a little bit of a squeeze when it gets to here. Just hold it for a second. You feel a little sensation inside the groin muscle area. Okay, inside. Okay, and we're gonna do it again, but you can also do stuff like this sitting down, where you're here. You can brace yourself with your hands, and you can do it like this. Maybe like your balance standing up isn't so great early in the morning. It's not really early right now, but for all intents and purposes, many of us are probably eating a lot yesterday. So maybe we don't feel like standing up. I don't know. Okay, but this is a good way to do it too, right? You don't have to worry about balancing, just moving the legs. Okay, but if you want to stand up, I think you get a little bit more out of the standing up version. And other side. All right, easy, good. Now, just waking up the hamstrings, the underlegs a little bit. Okay, think of this when we were lifting our knee. Feels like our hip is turning on. Okay, when we go up and down. The higher I bring my knee, even if it's just a couple inches, I really feel it in my hips. But you don't really feel it behind the legs yet. So what we're gonna do, just alternate again between picking up one leg. You're gonna pick up your knee. Just try to extend, bring it back, bring it down. Okay. You don't necessarily have to go to completely straight, especially if your muscles are telling you no, but just try to extend wherever you get to. You pick up your knee, you extend, just hold it for a second, and then bring it back and lower down. Just doing a few each side, alternating. Again, the more stable you can stay with the rest of your body, the more you get out of this muscle activation. Because again, the idea is we're trying to turn our muscles on. And this is, for me, it's a really quick way to get the lower body going. It's going to feel a little tired after a little bit. Okay, another thing you can do is when you pick up your foot, you can rotate your toes in or out. So you pick up your knee, you kick out, you can try to wave hello with your foot, and then you bring it back down. Okay, other side, bring it out, and back and down. Just try that a few times, either side. You can even rotate your ankle in a circle, right? Whatever feels good to you. The more you do this, it might feel like your hip gets really tired. So you can always take a break if it's too much. But if it feels good, if it feels like everything's waking up, then just keep trying to expand the movement. Okay? And just give it a little shake out. Take a sip of water if you like. And I'm planning to go till about 11 or so. So feel free to stay for all of it, stay for some of it. but I'm going to keep this up on my YouTube page if you ever want to refer back to it. What's up, Alex, over in Vietnam, where people know how to treat a pandemic? What's up? Vietnam's doing great. So now, really easy. Just put your hands on your hips and just like a hula hoop, try to rotate your hips around. If we did this first thing, this would probably feel really crummy. But hopefully after all the stuff we just did to wake up our muscles, feels a little better. Nice, easy circle. Okay. One thing about this is a very common movement that athletes or people that just move around, they'll do to kind of loosen up in between their exercises, or even as a warm-up. Sometimes it feels like when you do this circle, there's certain parts where you just kind of rush through it because it feels a little tight. So what I like to do sometimes is just isolate, like if you're on a compass. So I'm going around in a circle. Let's say if I put my hips in the forward position, so it feels like I'm pushing my belly forward, my hips forward, and I'm not trying to overarch my back. I don't want to create too much tension back here, but I'm trying to, again, think about how my hips feel. So I'm trying to hinge my hips forward. I can even bend my knees a little bit. This is I'm going to call this Thanksgiving pose. It's like you just had a big dinner, and you're just trying to spread it out a little. Okay. Then you take this. This can be a little harder for some people, is you push your hips to the side, but you try to think like you're fitting in between two narrow walls. If I was pressed between two narrow walls. So I'm trying to push my hips away from the screen. What I can do to remind myself is I can put one arm out like this and try to push my hips away from my arm. Okay. I'm actually going to keep my arms out like this for now, just as a good kind of balance reminder. Now I'm going to push my hips back, bring my hands forward. So it looks like this. It looks like I'm about to go diving, go for a swim. If Wendy's still here, this could be a good scuba warm-up. Scuba dive. Okay. This one I feel a lot in my hamstrings. The more I push my hips back. Okay. Then I'm going to bring my arms out to the side. I'm going to push my hips other direction. So this is interesting. When I went to the first side, it's a little tighter than this side. This tends to be my more flexible side, so I can push out a little bit more. Sometimes you can use your more flexible side to think, okay, this is how I feel on my good side. Ugh. What do I need to focus on the non-flexible side? Right? So you can do some detective work there. Okay. And then we come back around to the front. Thanksgiving. And relax that. Okay. Now from here, so remember we did this earlier where we spread out our fingers. We tried to really press in. So what we're going to do is just standing straight. We're going to try to spread our fingers out. Bend your knees a little bit just for now. And you're going to put your hands down on the floor like this. So I can bend my knees. I'm going to try to just get my hands here. That's it. Okay. Now I think we're going to work from the ground up. So I'm actually going to try to put a little bit of weight in my hands, maybe lean forward, 2 degrees. And I'm going to try to push my weight into my hands, almost as if I was going to go into a handstand. I'm not going to. Okay. But I'm going to try to warm these arms up. Now, try to push into your hands and see if you can straighten your legs up. And then just relax it. Okay. Same thing, pushing your weight into your hands. Straighten your legs. Feel a little burn. And then relax it. Okay. Every time you relax, try to sink your hips down a little lower. You see where this is going. Push into your hands again. Legs straight. Bend it down. Try to relax your hips. If they don't go all the way down, don't worry about it. One more time. Pushing into your hands. Hips up. And coming down. And just stay here for a second. If your hamstrings or hips or whatever are really tight when you're doing something like this, you can always have an object in front of you, something like this, if you need something to help, or something even a little bit lower, closer to the ground. This is a little more extreme, but just so you get the sense of pushing into something with your hands, just in case it's really, really hard to reach the floor. All right. So we were down here. And this is a good position to just exist in. It can be hard to get down this low with our hips, but down here you get a lot of mobility out of this position. Again, something that a lot of dancers, martial artists will use to kind of create mobility in their hips. My friend Tara Weaver, those of you that have met her, like, she does a lot of exercises from this low squat. One of my dance mentors, Sekou Haru, he lives in New York. He does this a lot. My Taekwondo instructor, Master Huang, like, he does exercises from here where we'll do actually squat jumps. We're not going to jump today, but just if you can be down here, then a lot of exercises that you do from this low position become easier. Okay, let's bring our hips up. And stand. Oof. Okay. Give yourself a little back arch. Okay, and shake out your feet. Whew. How we doing so far? we surviving? Let's see. Alex. We have about 1,000 reported COVID cases, about 249,000 less than the US. I think you're off by a decimal, dude. We've got like millions. Unless you're talking about one day. Good, Lee. Good. So the idea here is with all of that, that's, just different exercises that I use to get into my body, right? Before I start moving around, before I start like practicing for myself. Sometimes if I'm teaching a class, like a movement-based class, we'll do like a short version of that. Maybe not even really touch on all of those things. But if you're like doing something for yourself where you really want to either focus on stretching or you want to really like get warm before you do whatever practice it is you do, like, take your time and just get in. Let's see. Oh, I see. Yeah. Well, we don't have to talk about that stuff now. We'll focus on the stretching. All right. So just so you know, at some point you may see my wife walk through. It's cool. She's with us. All right. So now let's continue to warm up, but kind of get into a little more stretching. So you're going to take a lunge position, like a basic lunge. And if I'm facing this way, it just looks like if I'm shoulder width with my feet, one foot steps forward comfortably. And, oh, is that her? Hey, poor, I think Melissa might be here. Oh, she's coming in the back. I gotcha. Okay, cool. All right, so we're in this lunge position. We're live, y'all. And what I want you to do, really try to focus on straightening the back leg and almost like not shifting your weight, but keeping your weight 50-50 and just pushing your heel down. You can see my leg straightens out a little bit. Okay. And try to feel this in your heel, but also in your toes. Try to push your back toes into the floor too. It's almost like you're trying to grip the floor. It's a good way to put it. And as you do this, like your back leg is your anchor, try to move your front foot a little bit forward. You can see my front foot sliding a little bit past my my doorway here. Okay. And I'm gonna keep my front leg a little bent. Okay, but my back, it feels like my back foot is really working to drive my hips a little bit forward. Okay. If you want to make this longer, you can always take your back toes and angle them out a little bit, but try to keep your hips and toes feeling as forward as you can. Okay. Like this. And my back is straight. I'm not leaning forward. Okay. Now, just one more thing with this. Pretend like you just got punched in your belly, or you're bracing to get punched in the belly. Hopefully that doesn't happen. And you're just going to kind of tuck your belly in. This really wakes up the hip, the front of the hip flexor. Okay. And then just relax your back a little and come to the front and just relax. Actually, it doesn't really matter which way you're facing. You can face sideways, you can face forward, but just relax. Okay. Now, just take that same leg that was in back and just pull your heel up, and just holding the ankle, try to pull your foot closer to your hip. If you need to balance with something, you can use a wall, you can use a chair, whatever, that's fine. Just try to press your foot close to your bottom. And relax it. Let's try the other side. So starting neutral, just take a little step forward. I'm going to move back a little bit so you can see my progress here. And try to get into your foot. So pressing into your heel, so you're straightening your back leg. You want to feel like the whole back leg, like that whole back chain is awake this whole time. If it feels relaxed, try to push harder into your heel. Okay, gripping the floor with your toes. And start to inch forward with your front foot. In this position, this is a, in martial arts practice, your basic front stance. It's a mobility position, right? This is your movement. Every time you take a step forward, this is what it feels like. You push off of your back leg, transferring weight to your front leg. So anytime we step forward and do a kick, or we, have to go into a turn of some kind, you want to feel strong through your back leg, so that way you can perform the movement and not make it feel like too much work. Right? So we're strengthening the back leg, the back hip area. Okay. You see some people that have practiced this for a long time, they can get down really low. But don't worry about that. Just think about activating. Now try to pull your belly in, tuck it in a little bit. You feel a little more in the hip flexor now. You also might feel it in the glute. Try to turn your glutes on. This is a really overlooked muscle group. Sometimes it's a big muscle group, but we don't always use them to our max ability. All right, relax the back a little bit and just slowly come out. When you're in that position for a long time, the ankle might get a little stiff, so just roll your ankles out a little bit on both sides. I should have said it on the other side too. Okay. Maybe flex up, point down. Okay, and take the back leg on the second side and just try to pull it in. Try to create a little burning feeling in the front by pushing your hip forward. You'll feel it in the quad muscle, the thigh muscle. All right, relax. Good. And on the point of the feet, that's another thing you can do to wake up your feet sometimes. Like when I wake up in the morning, the first 5 or 10 minutes is really can be tricky to walk around. So I'll just pick up my toes and really try to find my range in my ankle. Same thing side to side. We did that a little bit earlier too, but if your ankle's feeling a little bit tight, just try moving it. Okay, so that's one thing you can do. Okay, good so far. So we're about halfway through. So now you're going to take that same lunge. Okay, let's go to the first side, and You're going to get into your lunge wherever it's at. And now you're going to pick your back heel up. So what this is going to do, it's going to help you make actually a longer lunge when you release that back heel. But I'm still trying to push into the floor with my toe. So think as a goal for now, I'm pushing into the floor with my back toe, and I'm going to try to make my back leg side hip look in towards my front knee. So it feels like my front knee and my hip are like this, but they're trying to converge almost. Okay? And you'll feel a little stretch on the outside of the hip. If that stretch starts to go away after a while, try to make your stance a little longer. Try to sit into your front leg. Okay, so if I'm sideways, I'm trying to make this hip look towards my front knee, but I'm trying to sit on that front hip. Try to sink a little lower. If your back leg is a little bit bent, that's okay. But if you straighten it, you get a little more stretch. And let's come out of it. Ooh. Maybe move that leg around a little bit. Ugh. Just loosen it up again. Okay, now let's try the other side. So going back to the lunge, picking up that back heel, and now try to lengthen your stance, your lunge. Okay. When you bend your front knee, try not to go too far past your ankle. Just keep your knee above your ankle. That way you don't over stimulate it. It also changes the stretch. Okay. Take your hip, try to look towards your front knee with your hip. It's like if there was an imaginary line here, your hip's trying to look towards that line. You can twist your upper body too a little bit, whatever feels good. Sitting into that front leg, making the stance a little longer. If you need to tap out, if you need to come out of it, it's okay. Just take a breath, get back into it. And then slowly come out of it. Relax. Good. Just get the feeling back in that back leg. Okay. Now, try to open the legs maybe a little wider than your shoulder width. And remember earlier we were pressing in with our hands. Okay, so now same idea. Bringing the legs a little bit open. Try to bring your hands down. Okay. This time, try to keep your legs straight. Okay. So opening the hands, straightening your legs, and try to lower your head down towards the floor. And I'm keeping my toes facing straight ahead, parallel. Think like your head's going down towards the floor, hips are going up towards the ceiling. And just slowly coming up. Relax for a second. Whenever you're going like upside down like that, where you're bringing your head down, just be careful when you get back up. Don't move too fast, because sometimes the blood rushes to your head, and then when you go back up again, it can feel a little dizzy, a little disorienting. So just, take your time. So now we're going to go down again, and this time we're going to play around a little bit. So from this position, just try to take turns bending one knee at a time. So leg-wise, it looks like I'm doing this. Like I'm spinning back and forth. But I'm going to bring my hands down, and I'm going to try to sit into it a little bit on both sides. And as I bend my knee, I feel like my hips sit backwards a little bit. When they come to the middle, they're up, and then they're back. Just a few times each side. Just see how low you can sit your your hips. All right, relax it. Good. Okay, now just taking that up one more level. When you sit to one side, here, okay, I'm going to try to reach my hands across towards my opposite ankle foot area. Don't worry if you can't actually touch, but just try to twist your body in that direction. Then bring it back to the middle and then sit on the other side here and try to bring your arms over this way. Really see how much you can reach with your opposite side arm. That's where the big stretch is. Back to the middle. Just do a few each side. Bending, reaching. I feel this one alongside my ribs, obliques. Back to the middle. Other side. Middle. One more time each side. Bending your knee. One more time the other side. And the more you do these, the more fluidly you can feel when you go to transition. Okay, coming back to the middle, just relax it. So whatever your movement style is, or however you like to move, like initially when you go into the position, it's good to just kind of hold one spot just so your body knows where it's at. You move to the next spot, hold it, just make sure that you're somewhere different. Go to the other side. Then once your body gets familiar with the positioning, you can move a little more fluidly. And that's like when your real movement wants to kind of go to work, is like you want to make it feel natural and easy and not overly stiff. But the overly stiff is good initially because you find out where you're at, right? You got to know where you're at. Just like when you learn a new language, you have to like break it down. Je m'appelle. You have to know how to say those things before you have full-on conversation. So just trying to see how your body moves the more you stretch, right? Okay. Now from here, let's go back to something we did at the beginning where I was lifting up my legs. So now you're going to pick up one knee and you're going to hold it with your arms and just like little increments. Just try to pick up your knee maybe a couple inches. Hold it for a second. Then again, pick it up a little bit. And one more time, pick it up a little bit. And then try to stand up on your toes and then come back down. So this is another thing you can do to actually like warm up. But since we're already warm, it should be a little bit easier to hold our balance, right? And if not, just, do what you can. Other side, pick up your knee. Try to grip in front of your knee. Try not to grab your ankle. It's a little easier to stand up when you grab your knee. Okay. And pick it up a little bit. Pick it up a little bit. If you want to really activate all the muscles, try to flex your toes up. And once it's at its highest point, like you're trying to hug your knee towards your chest, try to stand up on your toes. And then come down. Okay. Try that one more time. First side. Just see how high you can bring your knee. And once it's there, try to stand up on your toes. And then come back down. The more graceful, the better. Try not to fall. If you do fall, it's okay. Knees up. And try to push into your toes. And down. Now try that same thing, but instead of bringing your knee up straight, you're going to tilt your foot up towards the opposite hip. So it's like you're bringing your foot across your body. And just initially, you can hold your leg in a way where you're feels like you're cradling it. Okay. If it's really hard to do standing with this one, you can sit down. Just put one ankle over the knee, and just cradle it, and gently try to remove your ankle from your knee without making your knee go up on this side. Just try to pick it up like this. Okay. Try not to do this, where your knee comes to the middle. Try to open your knee and just try to pick up your ankle. It's a good one to do while sitting. But if you can balance, okay, here, okay, trying to pick up your ankle like this. And at the same time, try to open your knee, open your hip on the side. It feels like my knee's trying to drop down towards the floor. Okay, I'm gonna try to pull up a little higher. And if you can, try to stand up onto your toes. And then relax down. So it feels kind of like you're pushing into your hand, like kicking down with your ankle, and that's gonna make your knee open. So hold, like bracing yourself like this, like cradling, you can feel when your knee's opening versus when it's just relaxed. Try to open the knee, open the hip, and feel like you're kicking down with your ankle. Try the other side. Picking it up. Whew. And again, this is my less flexible side, so it feels a little harder. Ooh. Definitely back in this area is where it's tight. Okay. Once it feels like you've found a good balance, try to stand up on your toes. That's extra. If you don't quite get up on your toes, don't worry about it. Try the first side again. And you can push up onto your toes. I think I mentioned it, but it kind of in passing. When you lift up your leg like this, you can try to raise the level of your leg as well. Okay, that adds a little extra stretch. Other side. Here. Ooh. I haven't done this one in a while, so this might be a good one to get back into because I feel it on this side. It's crazy. Yeah. And standing up. And relax. So variation of that one. That one's a little, like initially it's a little bit of like a kind of a strengthening feeling where you're holding your leg up. Now turning it into a stretch for your glutes. So two ways to do it. First way, sitting in a chair, you're gonna make that same figure 4 position, okay, with your leg. And what I'm gonna do is, again, trying to open the knee outwards, and now try to relax your upper body forwards, like this. Like you can lean forward a little bit and start to feel on the outside, like this. You'll feel it in the glute. But just try to relax your body, however you need to navigate your arms. Sometimes I can reach, there's a little loop in between my legs, I can reach through with my hand. Makes it a little bit easier to lean forward like this. And feel like my hips are trying to sit backwards as I lower my body forward. My chest is trying to come down towards my leg. Okay. You can try the other side. You can also do a standing version of this where if you have something in front of you, okay, you can take I'll use the other leg actually. You make your figure 4. You pretend like you're sitting in a chair. So I'm actually bending my knees now. And I can use this as balance. And I try to sit backwards. Like this. So if you want to work your balance, you can do it this way. If you could care less about that right now, you can do it sitting. But either way, you can get the same type of stretch in the lower back glute area. Like this. Oof. I need this, man. And relax. Another variation, it's actually a little bit, I don't know, maybe easier, is crossing your legs. If you're sitting on the floor, I can cross like this, or I can cross one leg a little bit over if my hips let me. And I can try to sit my upper body forward gradually. Back a little bit. It's like if I lost my contact lens on the floor and I'm trying to look for it. And again, eventually you get to the point where it feels like you can just relax into this and just rest. If you feel any like knee discomfort, just you can modify how your feet are on the floor so that it doesn't hurt. But just like the standing version, I'm trying to, as I go down, send my hips backwards. Like this. Then I can change feet and put the other one in front. And same idea. And you might have to just navigate the sitting position a little bit so that, if you're on your ankle or you're, pressing bones against each other, it just feels a little uncomfortable. So you just have to navigate and kind of find what works for you. But just try to bring your upper body forward. And relax it. Okay. So if you're on the floor with me, just take your legs and just open and close your feet. Okay, just legs straight in front. And when you open, see if you can touch your pinky toe to the floor. So you might have to spread your toes a little bit. Okay. Now, open the legs a little bit, maybe like, 30 degrees, 20, 30 degrees. And do that same thing, but try to use your whole leg. So you're trying to open, but then try to bring your toes in. Rotating in and out. So it feels like you're trying to oil up the hip flexor area where your legs meet your hips. Okay, your whole leg, in and out. Okay, relax that. All right, now try that same idea. So you can sit however you like. You can sit cross-legged if you want to. Kneel down if you want to stand up on your knees, but just stay down here. And now think of that same idea you just did with your legs. Take your arms, bring it out here, and bring it palm up like you're trying to hold hold an object in your hand. Okay, and without moving your hips, try to rotate your shoulders forward. Rotate your whole arms as far as you can. It might feel like you can rotate your palms up behind you and then open up again. Feels like your pinkies are trying to go up towards the ceiling and then down again. Now it feels like your thumbs are trying to come up towards the ceiling. Okay. And just try to alternate by rotating your shoulder joint. Should feel a little burning. Try not to move your head. Head stays up. Okay, and I'm just going to kneel down just so you can see my arms, but you don't have to. So now take that same thing, bring it up about 15, 20 degrees up this way, like the capital Y, and try the same thing with your shoulders. Try to rotate forward and back. Feels like the top of my shoulders come towards the screen when I rotate my palms back. And then I open up my shoulders backwards when my pinkies come up. It's a little burning. You can actually see my arms are getting a little lower. I'm going to try to keep them actually up where they were. Then bring it up a little higher. Okay. If you can keep your arms up the whole time without dropping, you get a little extra benefit. Okay. Now try in and out. This is good to do maybe about 8 to 10 times if you can. The higher it gets, the harder it is to rotate. Okay, and then bring it up. Try to flex your hands up, little stretch, and then relax it down. Just gently shake out your arms. Okay, whatever you need to do. Just gonna check the chat. Let's see. Yes. Oh, you tried to do it on a yoga ball, Steve? That's good. That's good. Anything you can do to challenge yourself, if it feels good and you feel like you're getting something out of it, try it. Sometimes we see, I think you've probably seen like videos like of people doing, you know, crazy variations of workouts. Like someone will do like, oh, this is a push-up. And then the next frame, they're like, oh, this is me doing a backflip into a push-up. It's like, that's cool, man. But if you don't need to put yourself in danger when you're doing exercises like these, you're not losing out. I think some people, it's cool that they can do those things, but odds are there's a show-off threshold that you don't need to cross over necessarily. I'm glad this is great. Okay, so since we're on the floor, let's stay there for the last like 5 minutes or so, 5 to 7 minutes. And so this is going to be kind of another like warm up thing, but we're doing it late. So remember earlier I was saying press your palms together just to kind of get a sense of where your body's at. You're going to take your legs and you can either keep your legs straight, you can bend them in, you can bend them behind, you can have one straight, one bend. And I want you to just put your body in different positions and let yourself press into those positions for a little bit of time. So for example, if I'm just straight leg here, when I sit back, I don't really feel anything. I'm going to try to move my upper body in a way where it's like, ooh, okay, when I go forward, I feel like I can like push weight into my legs, almost like my legs are pressing into the floor. And I'm trying to think, what does that feel like? Okay, maybe I move my body this way. All right, this leg feels it more. I move my body this way, this leg feels it more. Maybe I put my body in the middle, both legs feel it. Okay, if I bend one knee in, let's do this. Okay, bend one knee in. Maybe I can lower this way. Maybe I can lower this way. But the whole time I'm thinking, keep my legs pressed into the floor. So I'm trying not to keep my legs coming up. Okay. Maybe I twist behind. Okay. Maybe I bring this leg behind. Okay. How does it feel now? I can go this way. Ooh, this is a little tight. Right. So you can just see where you're at. Even when I lean back, I can get a little stretch out of this. Okay. Maybe I bring this one out. This one stays behind. Here. If anything feels uncomfortable, just don't do it. Like uncomfortable to the point where it feels like something bad might happen. If it's a little tight, then go with it. But with this one, for example, like my knee's a little cranky today, so I can bring my knee in a little. I can modify it. Right? But just make your own patterns. Right? Just take a minute. You can experiment with your placement too. Maybe I bring my leg out a little. But I'm trying to press my legs into the floor. I can have my legs straight. Maybe I bend them a little bit. How does that feel? But the more you can explore in an exercise like this, the more, what's the word? Like the more you're just going to be able to modify your stretches. So sometimes you might twist your body a certain way and it feels good. Sometimes you might twist it a different way and it's like, oh, that's really uncomfortable. But that might be what your body needs, is to try to find out how to do it that other way. Okay, so with that in mind, let's open the legs and just tuck one leg in. And the other leg, you're going to try to make your toes straight up towards the ceiling, like someone's picking them up by a string. Okay? And from here, just put your hands more, kind of like framing this leg more or less. And I want you to try to take your other leg. You're going to try to pick up your knee and try to see if you can get this leg or this foot to become flat on the floor. And then just open it out again. Okay? When you open, try to lean your body a little forward towards the stretching leg. Okay? When you close, you can kind of lean a little bit away. Open, lower down, close. Open, lower down. If you can reach a little bit too, get a bigger stretch. Okay, closing it. When you close it, you feel like you're using your ab muscles to close. Open one more time. Try to get down as far as you can. And then just do a little twist to the outside. So you're going to reach across. Just a little twist back over your rear shoulder. My front toes are still up. And relax it. Good. So just trying to work your hip mobility a little bit on that closed side. Let's try the other way. When I bring my foot in, I'm trying to tuck it in against my front thigh. And I'm trying to open this knee up. For me, I guess I'm lucky enough where I've done this enough, my knee just rests on the floor, but your knee might feel a little bit like this. So you can work on more of the opening, right? Trying to bring that knee down. You can even use your hand as like an active, like stay down. But if you can have your knee on the floor, try to bring your hands forward. Otherwise, you can use your hands. Okay. So right now here, this is where my forward is. Okay. So now I'm going to try to pick up my back hip a little bit, tuck it in, open it out. I lower down. I tuck it in, little squeeze, and lower down. So the more I'm working this back hip, it's interesting, the lower I can get. Here I really feel a little burn in my hip flexor. I lower it back down, I can relax into it and get a little lower. You saw where I was at a minute ago, now I'm down here. Don't worry if the progress isn't the same, but see little incremental improvements. Ugh. The more you can open your knee as well, you get a little bigger stretching sensation when you come forward, especially if you can reach for your foot. One more time, little squeeze in. Ugh. Squeeze out, and little stretch. Wow. And relax. Nice. Whew. Oh, little twist. I forgot. Little reverse twist to the back. All right, good. Good. So that was interesting for me because usually I'm used to just going straight down and kind of taking it where it's at. But the more I had to use this leg in between to just wake up this outer chain, the lower I could get when I went down here. So I got my stretch to work more for me. I got more bang for my buck. Okay, now let's do this. So bring your legs out. Okay, and just finish up with this. Your hands are gonna be a little behind you. and see if you can keep your legs here. This is like same idea as before. We're opening. We're going to try to lower our body down. So I'm using my hands to push my body forward, wherever it's at. Then I'm going to come up. I'm going to bend my knees in. And if I can, I'm going to try to bring my hips up a little bit with my hands. So it feels like my hands are supporting. If your hips are flexible enough, you can actually bring your hands forward a little bit, like a frog. Then bring it back. Try to slide out. So I'm using my hands to support. Lower down. Bring it back up. Slide one foot in. Other foot comes in. I push my hips up. Okay. If you can't bring your hands forward, just try to bring your body forward. So it can feel like you're leaning back like this. See if you can bring your body forward with your hands. Little touch. Bring it back. Let's do 2 more times. Okay. Just trying to sit out. You see I'm putting my legs out, then I'm sitting down. Okay. Again, just fake it till you make it. Body forward. If you can bring your arms forward a little bit, you can get a little extra stretch action here. Okay. Bring it behind. Legs come in. Little lean forward. And if you can do this without needing your hands too, right? Just using your legs, that's an option. Okay. Bring your hands behind, legs down. Last stretch here. Coming down. Just try to get as low as you can get. A little pancake action. And relax out of it. Okay, bring your legs in. And just whatever you need to do to loosen up your legs, shake out your knees. You can move your knees back and forth. And I think we're good. Okay. Nice. So hopefully this was useful for everybody. Thanks for joining me today. Little post-Thanksgiving stretch. I was telling people you stretch your belly, then you stretch your muscles. So tell me if you're still hanging around, let me know which one, like if there were any stretches that felt particularly good, or if you have any questions about anything. I would say that after you go away from here today, just try not to do anything where you're just sitting down and not moving. Try to actually move around a little bit. So if you got chores to do, you gotta go take a shower, like now's a good time, because that'll help you keep your body long. When you start to shrink, do this a lot, then you feel the tightness come back. So just try to, whatever you need to do to stay open. Hey, Ann, what's up? What's up? Yeah, the hips, I'm big on the hips. I like, these hips don't lie. So a lot of my stretches just naturally incorporate the hips in different ways. If not, like, even if you can't like stretch them, it's like it reminds you that they're there. You need to vacuum. That's a good, you know what? Sometimes, Lee, I whenever I stretch on the floor, I'm like looking at the floor and I'm like, oh man, I got to sweep a little bit. I'm bringing a lot of dust in here. The last sequence between the V and the frog. Yeah. You know, and I'm not going to lie, Wendy, I kind of improv that one a little bit based on we did the one leg. I'm like, oh, what if we did this with both legs? But that actually felt really good. Another thing you can do once you get like really loose is when you come back here, you can actually add a stand in between. You get back down and then you push out. So that's another way you can challenge your hips, but a little bonus stretch there. Yeah, honestly, Daphne, you said, I think if I could manage to do even half of these every day, I'd be in a lot better shape for sure. Even if you stretch for like 5 minutes a day, like actively do something and it's like, oh, I'm trying to, you know, build this stretch a little bit. That can be enough to stay fresher, like 5 to 10 minutes, 15 minutes. You don't need a full hour. The full hour is kind of like the oil change. Like you only, if you like it, if you like to do it all the time, that's great. But you don't necessarily need to do it to keep your body fresh. All it needs is maybe just consistent 10 to 15 minutes a day, I would say. Standing one leg, bringing the other up to the knee. Yeah. Especially the one where we had to like tilt the ankle up a little bit. I really felt that one. And yeah, when all the muscles get warm, your joints are happier because your muscles are better at supporting your weight. Your muscles are better at like holding like positions for a long time. Your joints don't get overworked. Like your joints are just there. So yeah, always be ready to warm up and stretch before your physical activities. Really hard to get the down sequence. My arms don't want to reach enough to get my feet out before my butt hits the floor. Oh, I see. When you're going from this to this, Wendy. Yeah. So with that, just if you can be in this like squatting position, and just you bring your hands behind you. You can either have your hands in your palms, or you can have your fingertips. I feel like fingertips gives me a little bit more power going forward, but you can just practice like trying to bring one leg out while keeping your hips off the floor. Then when you try to do both at the same time, you just have to use your belly a little bit more and just hold that. It also like takes a little bit more strength in the wrists to hold your weight. So doing things like this earlier, where you're putting your weight a little bit more into your hands, can help strengthen the balance in your wrists, right? But yeah, don't overdo it. You get at that point, it's just style points. If you can do it easily or not, as long as you can move into the position safely, that's what the big thing. Cool, guys. So sounds like we had a good stretch. We'll have to do it again. I was thinking of making this like a weekly thing. I know a lot of my friends who are in the workforces, you go to work early and you could use something before you go to work. So if this format works out, I can always think about doing an early morning stretch routine, maybe once a week, twice a week, 18 times a week, whatever. But I'll keep you updated. All right. So have a good rest of your Friday. If you're doing a Black Friday cyber shopping, whatever day it is, don't spend all your money, but hopefully we'll see each other again soon. Yeah. Hopefully you guys had a good stretch. Feel free to send me any feedback through email or whenever I see you. All right. So have a good rest of the day. Stay loose. Remember, don't go sit down. And keep being safe. I'm going to end the stream here. All right. Take care, all.